Hey guys, this is Illusion Podfic, and today we're going to be reading Family Day by Night Sky Gazing. This is Chapter 2. So, Oliver starts, looking over the field near Clark's farm. Several other heroes and families are gathered around the area. Oliver is standing near Hal and his girlfriend Carol. Most of the other families are here, or have made an appearance at some point. Hal raises an eyebrow at Oliver as he starts speaking. You seen any bats yet? Hal shrugs, looking around. Dinah, Roy, Leon, and Roy's boyfriend Todd are grabbing some food from the barbecue. Playing a game of soccer is Barry, Wally's boyfriend Dick. How Wally managed to bag his son of a billionaire, no one knows. Dick's little brother Damien, who is scowling at the other three playing while Superman's son John pulls on his arm trying to get him to play. Near them, talking under a tree, is Tim Drake Wayne, who apparently met Con through Clark's numerous interviews of the Waynes. Standing with Tim is Con, Bart, and Cassie. Turning slightly, Hal can see Bruce Wayne himself talking with Clark, which Oliver and Hal were both confused about, but apparently if all of his kids are going to make an appearance at a superhero function, he will too. He does also fund the league, so it makes sense for him to be invited regardless of his kids' friends. Bruce Wayne's kids, Duke, Cassandra, and Stephanie, are all standing behind him, whispering to one another. Poor kids, they must feel so overwhelmed with all these heroes around them. Spinning all the way around, Hal sees Arthur talking to Diana, Calder, Garth, Donna, and Mary. There's a few other heroes spread out. No Batman in sight, though. It's already 3 p.m., well into the day's activities, and still no bat sightings. Who is Roy's boyfriend? Hal asks Oliver once they still can't find any bats. Oliver turns to look at his family, smiling at Dinah as she helps lean into a chair. His name's Todd Peters. Roy's pretty tight-lipped about how they met. Oliver sighs. I think it was from a time in his life that he is not too fond of regaling. But he's a nice guy, even if he's a little rough around the edges, and he's amazing with Leon. Hal squints at Todd, cocking his head. He just looks familiar, like I've seen him before. Yeah, I feel that way too. He reminds me of someone. I'm just not sure who. Carol looks between the two men, putting her hand on his hips. She shakes her head. You know that you two could go and talk to everyone instead of trying to make conspiracies over to the side? But Hal starts, being cut off as Carol raises an eyebrow at him. Hal hangs his head. He and Oliver follow Carol over towards the tables of food. Making their own plates, the three join Oliver's family at the table. They make small talk for a few minutes before Todd leans back in his chair and yells, Yo, Dickface, come eat food before it gets cold, and I have to hear you complain. Dick stops the soccer ball with his feet and turns to Jason, flipping him off. Nonetheless, Dick runs over to Damien and hefts the kid over his shoulder, kicking and screaming towards the food. Oliver stares at Todd and then looks back at Dick. Oliver points his fork at Todd, which Dinah rolls her eyes at and pushes his hand down. Do you two know each other? Todd snorts, lifting a cup of lemonade. Yeah, we know each other. How do you two know each other? Hal asks. He leans forward, taking a bite of his burger. Todd takes another drink of lemonade, looking like he is debating on how to answer the question. Before he gets the chance to share, Dick and Damien sit down across from Todd. Wally is zooming to sit on the other side of Dick. Todd tips his drink towards Dick and tilts his head towards Hal and Oliver. They want to know how we met. Dick presses his lips, thinking, They want to know how we met? Todd shrugs his shoulders. Which time? Todd shrugs again. How about the first time? Hal asks warily. He tried to steal some tires and got in trouble, Dick states calmly, taking a bite of chips. Whose? Not yours, Damien replies for them, crossing his arms and staring down Hal. Slowly, Hal leans back, away from the table. Intense kid, he mutters. Where's Barbie? Tim asks Dick, ignoring Hal from elaborating the conversation further. Babs said she's staying home and having a quiet day with Betty, since no one should be able to disrupt her, Dick says with a look that says, What can you do? Who's Babs? Oliver asks. A family friend, Dick responds, not elaborating past that. You invited a family friend to a league event where you were guests in the first place? Hal asks, looking shocked. What the hell is wrong with rich people? We were invited, Dick says slowly at Hal, looking slightly confused. Hal nods slowly. Okay. There are several beats of awkward silence as everyone eats their food. Dick and Todd start to tap their fingers anxiously. Hal's stomach ties in a knot, feeling bad about making them seem like they were meant to be here. Then Wally starts tapping in the silence, and Hal wants to get up and leave. As it's getting to a breaking point, Clark and Bruce and their group sit down at the table, laughing as they sit down. Bruce looks at his children, fidgeting hands, and then to Hal. And damn, the look that Bruce is giving Hal could rival Batman's. Clark puts a hand on Bruce's shoulder, and after a moment longer of looking into Hal's cell, Bruce sits down. Once he sits down, Bruce starts an easy conversation with his kids. Then he turns towards Todd and opens his mouth. Before Bruce even gets a word out, Todd snaps, "Shut up, old man." Leanne giggles next to Todd and whispers, "Yeah, old man." Bruce gives an unimpressed look. "Really?" Todd shrugs with a smile. "What can I say? I've taught her well." Leanne smiles and leans onto the table, wide-eyed, staring at Bruce. "My mom says that I can say every bad word that I want." Roy groaned, striking a hand down his face, muttering, "And this is why your mom doesn't have full custody." Todd laughs wholeheartedly, patting Roy on the back. "They're just words. She can say whatever the fuck she wants." Then Todd turns to Leanne and smiles. "And she knows the time and place to use those words to not get in trouble." Leanne presses her lips together and nods, sitting back down in her seat. "I only say bad words to people that are being bastards, and not at parties that Grandpa Ollie takes me to." Todd lifts his hands for a high five. "Really?" Bruce repeats himself, sounding tired. "I mean, Brucey, you don't really have a say in how Todd and Roy raise Leanne." Oliver cuts in, even if Oliver also isn't the biggest fan of the development. But Oliver can't miss the chance to mess with good old Brucey. He grins at Bruce. They can make the choices together without a random billionaire butting in. Bruce taps the table a few times, and Dick leans his head down, hiding a grin. "Of course," Bruce says placatingly. He smiles at Roy and Todd. "My apologies." "Oh, the dead rolled over in their graves," Todd mutters, picking up his plate, along with Roy's and Leanne's, taking them to the trash. Bruce's eyes follow him as he goes. Several leaguers' eyes dart between Bruce and Todd. Breaking yet again another tense moment of silence, Clark claps his hands together. "Who's up to play a game of volleyball?" "We'll play," Dick quickly chimes in, patting Damien and Wally's back. Todd stands behind Roy and smiles, too many teeth showing to be kind. "We'll play." "Nope," Roy immediately states, shaking his head. He looks up at Todd. "I refuse to play any physical contact game with someone so competitive." Clark looks around the table. Oliver and Hal both agree to play, as does Bruce. After a strong look from Clark, Dick walks away to Tim and comes back with a few more players. The teams end up being Clark, Oliver, Dick, Damien, Wally, and John versus Bruce, Hal, Jason, Tim, Bart, and Con. They laid on some ground rules. No flying, no speeding, no super strength, no gadgets. After a coin toss, Bruce's team was given the first serve. Hal smirks at Tim as he takes the ball to the back of a line that Clark burnt into the ground. "Don't worry if you can't hit the ball over the net, kid. It's a rough game to start." Tim smiles at Hal. "Gee, thanks. Sure does make me feel better if I mess up." Turning away from Hal, Tim drops a smile and rolls his eyes. Getting a place, Tim smirks and serves the ball. It easily sails over the net. Damien immediately lunges for it, yelling, "Mine!" Wally sets the ball, and Dick spikes it over, being blocked by Bruce. Clark dives for the ball, only to be blocked by Damien, who gets there first. As the game starts to amp up, several others drag chairs over to watch, starting with Steph and Cass. Steph plops her chair down and puts her feet up on a cooler Duke dragged over. "None of you wanted to play?" Roy asks, sitting down next to Cass. Cass shakes her head. Duke laughs on the other side of Steph. "I haven't been in this family long, but it's been long enough for me to know not to get in that particular dynamic's way when they start their bullshit." "Go Dick!" Steph cheers, earning Tim to flip her off. "You think Dick's team is gonna win?" Roy asks, raising an eyebrow. Steph smirks. "You don't? How much you wanna bet?" "Oh, this party just got so much better," Steph says, getting out her, Tim's, wallet. As the bet gets placed, a point is finally made. Hal screams "mine" and dives for the ball, but misses as it lands an inch away. Jason fumes as Tim rolls the ball over to the other side. The two sides continue for several minutes, neither making much room, and when they do, someone from the Bat family starts to get a higher temper. After 20 minutes and the game being at 2-2, Hal stands to the side, having spent the last 5 minutes not even being able to get near the ball before he's blocked. Looking through the next, Hal notices Oliver in a similar stance. Cocking his head to the sidelines, Oliver and Hal both make their ways over there, grabbing a drink, watching as neither team notices the lack of a teammate. Another 5 minutes pass before Wally and Bart both leave the game. "This is stupid," Bart grumbles. "I'd get all those points if we could use our speed." Wally pats his back as they move to stand behind Steph and Duke. "I know, buddy." "How the fuck are the Waynes still going strong?" Mary asks as she makes her way over to the group. Steph cackles. Built different in Gotham. Several leaguers look at Steph warily before looking back to the game. John and Con haven't touched the ball in the last minute either. Both of them are staring at their respective friends before they too leave the game. Our game night's always in like this, John mutters. Yep, Con says, looking unimpressed by the lack of involvement. The game continues as Bruce and Clark eventually leave the game too. More so that Clark decides to leave the game and goes to the other side, dragging Bruce off the field. Can you wrangle your kids? Clark practically hisses at Bruce. They're insane out there. Bruce gives Clark an unimpressed look. You're just a big baby. Now let's go back in. Clark grabs Bruce's shoulders and drags him to the sidelines, pushing him into a chair by Cass. Nope, we are not adding fuel to the fire. Be the adult. Dad, Cass says with a smile. Bruce smiles back gently at Cass. Cass taps his shoulder. Don't pout. You did a good job. Back on the field, Damien and Dick are versing Tim and Jason. Damien lunges for the ball, scrambling back up as Dick sets it for him. You will die from humiliation today. Jason jumps up, blocking the ball. Been there, done that, demon brat. Jason lands back on his feet. After today's smackdown, you're gonna need a green bubble bath. No green bubble baths, Dick smirks, sending the ball over the net. You're going to lose today, though. Statistically speaking, Tim starts setting the ball. You and Damien have the larger losing streak. Usually because the little demon gets disqualified for stabbing. Stabbing? Arthur asks Bruce on the side. Bruce waves his hand away. And how long can you go before you tire, spleenless wonder? Damien quips back. Ha! Steph barks. Your stupid grandpa's the one who took it, Tim retorts as Jason dives for the ball. I just realized that you two both have crazy grandpas, Jason says to Dick and Damien. You just now realized this? Dick sounds concerned as he sends the ball back over the net. Tim sets the ball for Jason. I've never thought of it. Jason spikes the ball downwards and Dick dives to get it. He pops back up as the ball soars into the air. You've taken one too many hits to the helmet. On the sideline, the other heroes are looking concerned. Holy shit, they've been playing for 35 minutes now, and the score is still 2-2, Hal states, shaking his head. He looks at the other heroes, who look equally baffled. I thought they were all civilians. I know, Oliver mutters. These guys are crazier than Batman. When do we finally cut the game off? Clark asks Bruce, leaning over so everyone doesn't hear him. Bruce shrugs, usually when someone pulls out a weapon, which should happen soon. And like clockwork, the ball went back and forth a few more times before a small device started beeping and rolled across the net onto Dick and Damien's side. Dick lunges over, grabbing Damien and rolling a few feet away. The ball hits the ground on their side as the device explodes, leaving a small 1-foot crater in the sand. Dick jumps up as Jason starts doing a ridiculous winning dance. We won, you lost. Dick rushes under the net and tackles Jason to the ground. You cheated. Using gadgets was against the rules. You forfeit. Jason sticks his tongue out and spits at Dick. Dick uses both of his hands to push Jason's face into the sand. Jason's hands scramble up to grab Dick's arm as Dick lifts a finger to his mouth and licks it. Jason grabs that hand as Dick tries to stick it in his ear. Knock it off, Dickface, Jason yells. Admit I won, Dick yells back. And then there's a moment of weightlessness as Dick feels the back of his shirt getting grabbed. Clark is holding Dick up in the air with one hand and Jason up in the air with the other one. Dick and Jason both cross their arms as Clark holds them there, not letting them down. Boys, Clark starts. He started it, Dick cuts in. Jason sticks his tongue out again. Damien walks up in front of Jason and Dick. I would like it to be noted that I am not the one who pulled a weapon out during this game. Beside him, Tim types something out on his phone and pockets it. It was noted. Tim looks at Jason and shakes his head. Technically, we lost because you wanted to blow something up. Jason smirks. Is it really a loss then, Timbo? What the actual fuck is going on? Oliver exclaims from a few feet away. Why did you have a bomb, and why do you act like it's normal? I mean, who hasn't blown up a few things? Tim asks. Timothy is correct, Oliver. Most game nights end like this, and a small explosion is the least of your concerns, Damien states. Oliver turns to Bruce, who is still seated in his chair, unbothered. What the fuck have you taught these kids? They've always been so sweet at galas, and they somehow managed to get Roy's boyfriend in on it? Hey, Tim calls out, hitting his own chest. I came this way, and then I came back this way. Don't give him, Todd points at Bruce, the credit? Hal looks at Bruce, and then to the 4 kids on the court. Are they all yours? Even Todd? Yes, Bruce responds, finally standing and making his way over to his kids. They are all mine. And up until some cheating took place, they were doing a marvelous job of playing volleyball together. Longest they've gone without a weapon being drawn. Aw, shucks. We try, B. Dick smirks, placing a pair of sunglasses on his face as the sun starts to set, glaring right onto the field. That's the longest your kids have gone without. Arthur cuts himself off as he stares at Dick. He cocks his head, his eyebrows scrunched. Nightwing? Yes? Dick asks, flashing a wide smile at the heroes. You're Nightwing? Oliver screeches. But I thought you said that you and Batman shared a family. But your family is the Waynes, and... Oliver cuts himself off as he looks at Bruce, and then holds a hand up, covering the top half of Bruce's face. Holy shit. Bruce smacks Oliver's hand down. You are all very unobservant. You are all very secretive, Hal retorts. He looks at all of the kids in disbelief, and then points around the entire group. Are they all vigilantes? Yep, Steph calls out, running up to the group. She pats Dick's arm. He's the oldest. I was Bee's first. The first kid, the first Robin, and now Nightwing. Dick shrugs his shoulders like it's no big deal. Jason throws a glance at Dick, who looks completely content staying a foot off the ground. Jason rolls his eyes and pats Clark's hand on his back, finally being let down. I was next. I was the second Robin, and now I'm Red Hood. Jason fixes his shirt and then stops for a second thinking and then adds, also, my name is actually Jason. Isn't the Red Hood a murderer? Someone asks. At the same time, Oliver gapes like a fish. Jason died. I went to your funeral. Meh, Jason replies, moving to stand next to Roy. Batgirl, Cass says, second oldest. Debatable, Jason mutters, leaning against Roy's side. Cass throws a pitiful look at Jason. There's a pause as everyone waits for another kid to speak. There's a smacking sound as Stephanie hits the back of Tim's head. Tim rubs the back of his head and glares at Steph. Ow, Tim sighs. Then there's me. I was the third Robin. Now I'm Red Robin. Stupid name, Jason coughed into his arm. I'm next, the fourth Robin, and the second Batgirl. Now I'm just spoiler, Steph says with a grin. Stephanie moves over to Bruce and pats him on the shoulder. Also, this big guy isn't my dad. I'm not adopted. I just reap the benefits. I am the blood son, the fifth and current Robin, Damien states, rolling his eyes at Stephanie's antics. He doesn't add anything else to his statement and glares a signature back glare at any hero who looks at him any longer. And I'm Duke, a meta. I go by Signal. I'm currently being fostered by B, Duke states, a little anxiously. He looks over at the rest of the family gathered on the field. And I've already learned that they're nuts. Jason barks out a laugh. Understatement of the century. So, my best friend growing up has been dressing as a furry for years? Oliver starts, and Bruce rolls his eyes. And not only that, but your children also fight crime. One of them died and came back, and you didn't think to tell anyone in the last almost 8 years? Bruce gives Oliver a deadpan look before he replies, Mostly correct. Mostly? Oliver shakes his head. What did I miss? Most of us have died. Damien deadpans from the side of Bruce. What? Arthur asks, stepping towards the group. Who all has died? Cass, Steph, Dick, Jason, and Damien. There's a long pause. How? A voice barely squeaks. Joker, Jason shrugs. Black Mask, Stephanie states. Lex, Dick scowls. My clone, Damien pointedly replies. Mom, Cass says without elaborating. I guess I'm shocked more of you haven't died, I guess, Hal mutters. A part of me really wants some elaboration, but a more logical part of me knows that I shouldn't touch any of that with a 10-foot pole, Oliver says, gesturing towards the entire family. He closes his eyes for a moment, feeling a headache forming. Who all knew before today? As Oliver opens his eyes, he looks around, seeing Clark and his kids with their hands raised. Which, okay, makes sense. Diana has her hand raised, and so does Barry, Bart, and Wally. And besides Oliver, Roy, Diana, and Leanne all raise their hands. Really, Diana? You're my girlfriend. How do you know and I don't? Diana places a hand gently on Oliver's shoulder. I'm from Gotham. I've known for years. Betrayal, Hal mutters into Oliver's ears, earning an elbow to the stomach. To the side, Clark finally puts Dick on the ground, who makes his way over to Wally, throwing his arms around Wally's shoulder and leaning onto his back. Hal tilts his head at the two of them and asks, So, you two are together, which is why Barry knew, yeah? I've known for a while, actually, Barry says awkwardly, rubbing the back of his head. Like, the past 11 years-ish. That's before the League formed. Wally and Dick met on a patrol one night after I was contacted for my chemistry background, Barry defends. He gestures at Bruce, mostly because Bruce already knew who I was. But the boys hit it off, and I couldn't keep having Dick over for sleepovers with a mask on the whole night. And I really didn't want Wally to sleep in the cave. I told you he wouldn't be sleeping in a cave, Bruce mutters, half-heartedly glares at Barry. Barry raises his hands in defeat. You can never be too sure. You dressed like a bat. What was I supposed to think? Yeah, B. What was he supposed to think? Dick mimics. He rests his chin on Wally's shoulder. You locked me in that cave for days at a time, not letting me leave, never seeing the sun. Jason gasps, clutching his imaginary pearls. You monster! That is quite despicable of you, Father. Damien deadpans. I should have stopped with Barbara, Bruce mutters. Who is that? Someone yells. There can't possibly be more. Alright guys, and that is the end of Family Day by Night Sky Gazing. I hope you guys liked it, and I'll see you next video.